Incorporating movement in multiple planes of motion is very important, especially for runners. If you're always running forward and you neglect any side-to-side or rotational movement, our body will adapt to that. So a lot of times I see runners with weaknesses in the hips, tightness and inflexibility through the groin and inner thigh. To help combat that, one of my favorite exercises is called the lateral squat. The lateral squat puts us in this stationary lateral lunge position. So if you notice here, my feet aren't completely even side to side. What I'm actually doing is placing, if I'm going to go to my right side first and sink into that hip, I'm gonna put my right foot slightly forward. So I like to think if I'm on a line in the floor, my heel of my right foot and the toe of my left foot are on that same line. Okay, so I'm offset there. So what I'm gonna do from here is I'm going to sink backwards into this right hip, push my butt back as this left leg straightens. A big tendency people have on this movement is as they lower down, they lower in, but they keep this left leg slightly flexed. We really need to start to straighten that leg out. As that leg pulls back, it actually allows us to sink back into the hip a little more, and then we're trying to lower down to this front thigh is parallel to the ground. So just as I did that rep right there, I felt a big stretch through the inner thigh. These muscles are actually contracting to help stabilize through the pelvis, but they're lengthening at the same time. So that eccentric contraction is a very good way to keep control in the movement, but also get a little more flexibility through the musculature that surrounds the hip. So sinking back, lowering down, chest is up, eyes forward, and then big drive. I try to think from the outside of that right shoe, outside of the hip, I'm pushing back up. So it's a good way to develop some good strength from the hip abductors, the glutes, piriformis, the external rotators. Okay, from this other side, sinking in, driving up. So on this movement, you'll be able to notice if there's any difference in strength or flexibility side to side. But the lateral squat is a good movement to help get out of that sagittal plane and help develop multiple planes of motion.